Welcome to the Everything Cancer podcast. This podcast is intended for survivors, those who love them, healthcare providers, and leaders of cancer support organizations. Our guests offer insight into the honest survivor experience, how challenges are met head-on, and where blessings are discovered. We cover effective self-advocacy on the bumpy road of cancer survivorship from the moment of diagnosis on. We talk about rekindling intimacy when cancer has changed your world. We are given behind the scenes insight into cancer care because understanding it better empowers you to advocate for yourself more effectively. We hear from leaders of cancer support organizations about their resources and how to access them or those like them. The Everything Cancer podcast welcomes survivors who would like to share their journey and how they have met their challenges, providers who would like to share their empowering insight, and leaders of cancer support organizations who would like to share their stories and resources. We welcome support through sponsors, the Everything Cancer website, and our Patreon page. Please note, the information shared on the Everything Cancer podcast is not intended as medical advice. Please always consult with your healthcare team. The staff at Everything Cancer podcast will not answer individual healthcare concern questions. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you enjoy this episode and find it useful. Please do share it with other people if you think they'll benefit from it, and rate us on your favorite podcast platform. Thanks and take care. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Everything Cancer podcast. We have a treat for you today that is full of adventure. With us here today from the greater Cincinnati area, we have representatives from the Move Beyond Surviving organization, which sounds like it is a very healing organization for breast cancer survivors. With us today is surgical oncologist Dr. Kelly McClean, Executive Director of Move Beyond Surviving, Tom Tressler, and breast cancer survivor who went on the adventure of Move Beyond Surviving, Sara Hill. And Sara is also a dog accoutrement designer that you can find on Etsy. What is the name of your business, Sara?
It's Serendipity Petwear, but Sara and is spelled Sara, S-A-R-A, instead of S-E-R-E.
That's a great, I love that play on words. So anyway, it's wonderful to have all of you here. Thank you for your time. And Tom, would you like to explain how Move Beyond Surviving started?
Actually, Kelly's going to be better explaining that since It really started with Kelly.
Okay, great.
So growing up and as I went through med school and stuff, I realized how healing being outdoors was. And then as I was in practice, I saw how we were making a lot of headway with actually treating cancer, but it was leaving people with physical, emotional, and cognitive changes. Mm-hmm. And so people were surviving, but then they were kind of like at a loss of what to do afterwards. So in 2017 and then 2018, I partnered with North Carolina Outward Bound and took a group of 9 and then a group of 6 survivors out there for a 5-day, 4-night backpacking, whitewater rafting, rock climbing trip. And it was amazing, really helped people disconnect from like the pressures of the world that they were in and reconnect with themselves. And we set up different challenges to just, help open up people. It was very well received, but I realized a couple of things from that. One, I wasn't going to be able to keep paying for it myself. And 2, that while being able to go out into the wilderness for 5 days is amazing, it was very intimidating for a lot of people and not doable for a lot of people. So that's when we decided to make it into a nonprofit and try and do half day, more accessible trips in order to reach more people and allow more people to participate. And so I say I'm the inspiration. So, I had this great idea, but I didn't have the time or experience to create a nonprofit. And it just so happened that Tom had an amazing amount of experience with nonprofits, and we were fortunate enough that he was available to work with us. And so that's how we got started as a nonprofit. So we've been a 501c3 since June of 2022.
Well, congratulations. I can't wait to hear more from you and Tom and Sara about the transformative changes you have witnessed in women with Move Beyond Surviving. So, Tom, what would you like to add to what Dr. McClean had to say?
Well, first, give her tons of credit. She even came up with the name and the logo. So she more than just inspiration, and she is very much a hands-on board president. Mm-hmm. And she's participated in every single event that we've had. And she is also an outdoors person. If we took this camera out to the garage, you'd see her kayak and her paddleboard and her bike. So it just married a lot of what she's about as a person to do this. And mm-hmm. I've been on with many nonprofits, and she's the most active board member I've ever been involved with. So it's a blessing.
That's great. I love the logo of the pink phoenix in various shades of pink rising, the rising pink phoenix. I think that's right away what the organization is about when you see that. So Sara, tell us your story about where you were before Move Beyond Surviving and the challenges you found yourself up against, how you found out about Move Beyond Surviving, and then what it was like and how things have been for you since.
Okay. First of all, I want to say I just love Kelly. She was my surgeon, and from the time I met her, I knew there was something special about her, and then this just encompasses everything who she is. So before I came to Move Beyond Surviving, my cancer journey itself was, everybody told me what to do, where to be, and I just showed up, and everybody supported me. And then after going through active treatment, you're just kind of set free. And I really struggled with, oh my gosh, what to do now, because I didn't feel like myself. I really didn't look like myself. And, I had heard about Move Beyond Surviving when I was in active treatment. And at that point, it was not a time for me to become involved. And then I kind of forgot about it just because, chemo brain and your head is just swirling with everything. Your body's still trying to figure out your new you. I was full of fear of what are my limitations? Am I going to be able to get back to the old me, which was a very active person? And then I had a counselor from Cancer Family Care remind me about Move Beyond Surviving. And I reached out. I happened to be going to see Kelly, and she had also said, she mentioned the group. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm waiting to hear back. And it was, Tom reached out to me immediately, and we connected, and there was an event coming up. But I went from this really dark place, being very fear-based as to what I can do, how to live in this new world. And I went to my first event with them was an outdoor rock climbing event. And, that kind of evokes a little bit of fear in and of itself. Mm-hmm. And it felt like being home. I was with people who understood where I was coming from. For me, there was safety because Kelly was there. And it just, people cheered you on and supported you and gave you encouragement to try something that you might not have done in a long time or might not have done before. And it really was, oh my God, when I came home, I think I talked nonstop for 24 hours to my husband about how awesome the experience was. And it really just was, I'm going to say it, it was eye-opening and life-changing to realize that I still was who I used to be. There just were things in my life that had changed a little bit and I had to adapt. But hey, that happens to all of us when we get older. And, coming to these groups and the events just fills me up with being around people who are similar to me, but so different, because you hear so many journeys. And it's so funny because, when you're in that middle of your cancer journey, it feels like you're in this bubble all by yourself and you're kind of alone. And you come to something like Move Beyond Surviving and you realize, like sometimes I feel like an imposter. I'm like, oh my God, people still are on this journey. You've got women who are metastatic, who have had reoccurrences. And for me, it's so empowering. That's what Move Beyond Surviving did. It is empowering for me as a breast cancer survivor, as a woman who, struggles just with life because of the journey that I've been on, and witnessing the strength that these activities give to these women who might come into an event that they're terrified to do, and just watching the life come back into them and be so proud of accomplishments. And what a gift that Move Surviving is. I mean, I really can't, if you're a, breast cancer survivor and you're struggling, I suggest you get involved with the group, because it will give you a whole new lease on life. And just to be, like I said, I grew from the inside out and my light came back. That is the one thing I will say. I was in such a dark place, and Move Beyond Surviving has really given me that light back, to have the courage to try new things, to have the courage maybe to even look like an idiot while I'm trying these new things, but it's so important to be around people that you're normal around, that understand what you've been through, what you're going through, how your life has changed. And then just to do these fun, exciting adventures. I mean, like, we've got some stuff coming up and I am so excited. I've got my calendar marked, big bold letters, where to be, when to be there, what's going on. And, it really gives you something to look forward to while you're starting to get back to life. Because, I never thought I was going to be myself again. And that is the gift that Move Beyond Surviving has given me.
Jill, I just want you to know how long it took for us to write that, for her to read it.
I'm sorry, I'm a bit of an overtalker.
No, I just meant if I could write a script for someone to make a commercial, you said what I would have written.
Well, now you have it, Tom, so you can take it and use it.
I've already used one of her quotes on social media. So.
I'll send you the transcript from this.
Awesome.
One of the things that you mentioned, Sara, when we were talking before we started recording, is that you developed osteoporosis, and you were scared to do things because of that. You were scared for your safety and potentially having a fracture or something like that. So tell us about the rock climbing experience with that, and then what measures are put into place to make sure that you're okay with that, so that makes people who are listening feel more confident about this, and also understand how to engage in it safely and make sure they're with the right people.
I do have to say there is one Move Beyond event I did not do, which was the skiing. Because I was at such high risk. And I did check with my doctors, and not that they ever tell me no. They just kind of gently remind me and let me make those decisions. But always check with your doctor if you're not sure, would be my suggestion. And you kind of have to trust your gut. Rock climbing I wasn't so worried about because we're tied in. Horseback riding, I do have to say I stood next to the horse doing big hip movements to see if my hip would even move well enough to get up and over the horse before I actually got on it. But I think it's just being, conscious of what your limitations might be. You be extra careful. And like I said, I mean, Kelly's my safety blanket. If anything happens, she knows my medical history. I'm not really that worried about it. So I think it's just sometimes, check with your doctors, double check yourself, do your workouts and your stretches like you should to help keep that, to keep your body from continuing to get worse as a direct result of some of the treatments you may have had during cancer. And then, it's just having the faith. And it's, like I said, it's being surrounded by the women who also give you the courage and the reminder of, you can do it. Slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race every time. We're not out there to win anything. We're not out there to impress anything. We're just out there, for me anyhow, for self-growth and empowerment, because, you can't take that away from us. Cancer takes away so much, and us growing and trying new things and challenging ourselves can never be taken away.
That's so nice to hear you say. Have you noticed, obviously you've had an emotional and mental transformation with this. Have you noticed a physical transformation too, with being more engaged with the outdoors?
Since post-treatment, yes. The outdoors is my happy place. I used to be a long distance runner, and I did a lot of trail running. So I was always in the middle of the woods. So finding Move Beyond Surviving for me was a perfect fit. Mm-hmm. And I really think most people, there's just a peace in being surrounded by the universe, which is bigger than me. And, that connection, like Kelly said, just that connection with the outside and the bigness of everything, it can help put things in perspective, in many, many ways. But that's also kind of an individual thing that I think everybody gets their own strength, whatever, empowerment from being outside. But it's one more thing that Move Beyond Surviving gives us. It's just that connection with,
It's an important connection. I do birding myself and hiking to go birding and trail cycling. Yeah. And I feel like a different person after I've done that. And it's migration season, so I'm thrilled. Dr. McClean, Kelly, tell us about the transformations you have witnessed that have, it sounds like you see a lot of them, but have really stuck with you since you started Move Beyond Surviving.
Yeah, so again, I think that Sara put it well. People come out of their treatment and they think that they're better, but they're really just kind of subsisting and in like a dark place, just going day to day. Cancer is your body turning against itself, and it's cells growing out of control, and while we're open to anyone, any age, any stage, there are young people that are hit by this disease when it really interferes with their plans, and they're it's not supposed to be part of life. That didn't fit into the plan, and I think it brings a vulnerability that people just weren't counting on. And so what I've seen is people coming together and realizing that they're not alone, that there are other people, even though everyone's journey is different, there's some commonalities of it. And the things that they're afraid of, the osteoporosis, the neuropathy, like you can't feel your fingers or your toes, or if you walk for too long, your feet hurt. And the things that are chemo, the foggy thinking, and or the physical changes from surgery and not trusting if you have the strength because of the treatment or the range of motion from radiation, where they might want to do things with their family or, try stuff. They're afraid they're going to hold people back, or they're going to falter in the middle and not have an out. So what I've seen is people feeling safe. It's a safe and supportive environment to try things that they want to do, but may have not known how to go about doing. And so just to be able to kind of test the waters and know that if, they aren't successful, they can try again, or they're not holding anyone back, or that everyone that's with them appreciates what they're going through and how challenging it is. So it just helps bring a lot of people out of their shells.
That's so nice to hear. Tom, what is your take on the transformation that occurs with Move Beyond Surviving?
It's better, more positive than I anticipated. I knew, and Kelly described in detail, and I'd spoken to some of the women that had gone on their 5-day trips, and I thought, well, we're going to scale this back. We're going to also scale back the benefit. And while there's great benefit in what went on with the 5-day trip out in the wild, we're seeing a lot more benefit, at least my expectations, than I anticipated. And it's just amazing. And the perfect word to me is empower, and that can mean different things, and there's different levels of that empowerment. But one of the things I hear most commonly at the end of our events is, I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. And it's just and it's smile, and it's this positive energy. And a lot of times, and Sara, you're guilty, we see tears at the end, and it's not sad tears, and it's not happy tears. It's just, you describe it, there's tears from so many, and it's a positive tear, but it's not that happy tear, and it's not that sad tear. It's and to me that's better than words. Kelly and I leave these events just feeling like, wow, this is making a difference, because we're behind the scenes, and every day we're working on this kind of thing, and you wonder, are we getting anywhere, or is this the right thing? And then we're reminded every single time that it is. But Sara, if you could describe what those tears are,
Thank you for tuning into the Everything Cancer podcast. We appreciate you being here with us. If you are finding this episode useful, please share it with others that you think would benefit. And don't forget to rate us with your favorite podcast platform. Please check out the show notes for more information and more information about our guests, links to their websites, and any other resources they've shared. We aim to make it easy for you to connect and learn more about the valuable insights shared in each episode. We welcome support through sponsors, the Everything Cancer website, and our Patreon page. Please stay tuned for a brief word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back to our episode. Thank you so much. Do you have a dry mouth that distracts you with that nasty feeling and taste? H2 Ocean has your solution, literally and figuratively, with its sea salt healing rinse. It's made from salt from the Red Sea, and it has other minerals that are beneficial to you in it. It also has lysozyme enzyme, which is soothing to the inside of your mouth, and xylitol, which makes your mouth water. It's very mild in flavor, yet refreshing. Does not make you suck in your cheeks like often happens with other mouthwashes. And it stays with you. Other mouthwashes, they're gone in 10 or 15 minutes. This has stayed with me for a few hours now, and it's great. I plan on using it before every podcast episode to keep my mouth moist without taking distracting sips of tea and so on while I'm talking. The links to the H2 Ocean Sea Salt Healing Rinse will be in the show notes, and then a QR code also on the YouTube version of this podcast. It's excellent to help rinsing with chemo mouth or irritation in your mouth from radiation, but mouth sores and just general everyday use. I find it really pleasant and really helpful to use. I hope you do too. Thanks.
For me, the tears it's that emotional release of hope and pride that we did something and accomplished something and were successful at something we maybe didn't think we could do, because without the group, I know all these things that we've done, I would not have done on my own. So I think it's just that emotional release of gratitude in having the opportunities presented to us taking that challenge and challenging ourselves and trying to do it, and then being successful and being surrounded by the power of these incredible women. I mean,
you're one of those incredible women, Sara. So hearing you and Tom and Dr. McClean Kelly talk, what I'm envisioning is that you have been on an uphill climb with your survivorship and also going through, to stick with outdoors analogies, a dark forest and really having a difficult time finding your way back to light. And getting involved in this helps you understand where your path is, and you finally summit the challenges that you have faced with survivorship. Doesn't mean that they're gone, but you're understanding so much better how to grapple with them, and you feel empowered to deal with them and to face things in a much more positive manner and manner of empowerment, control, thinking straight through things, but also the shared experience. I'm hearing over and over again that the shared experience is so powerful for people that are on the cancer journey. It is a very lonely place to be. That's what I'm hearing too over and over again, as our listeners who've listened to more than one episode may have heard. And you are now and enjoying the benefit of the shared experience and using it to get past the darkness.
yes, that is correct.
I think so. You asked, what success stories. What to me is a success story is when someone goes on their trip and then they start running, or we'll introduce people to kayaking, and then they'll be like, yeah, again, I didn't think I could do it, and so we went and we rented some kayaks and went out on a lake afterwards and stuff. So, or for instance, dragon boat racing's really popular among breast cancer survivors, and so we've seen a lot of people that weren't active before that now are getting involved with like the local dragon boat. So it's really reigniting in them this interest in doing things and giving them the confidence to start doing more things on their own.
It's got to be so nice, Kelly, to have people walk in to see you after an event and still smiling when they necessarily were not beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people, I'm like, I'm not doing this for me. It's not for like to get my name in lights. We do this because we saw a void, and to just create a way of bringing people back to themselves.
So does Move Beyond Surviving exist outside of the greater Cincinnati area?
We only have one office or one chapter, and it's located here in Cincinnati. But I will say that, our expectations were people in the greater Cincinnati area were going to participate, and that does include northern Kentucky and southeast Indiana. But we had an event last April that we're going to the same place again in a couple of weeks in Hocking Hills, which is eastern Ohio. And we had somebody come from Michigan, which was, 5 or 6 hour drive. 2 people come from Cleveland, which was a 3-hour drive. 2 people come from Columbus. We had people from Indiana and Kentucky. So we had 4 states represented. And I'm asked all the time on LinkedIn, if we have a chapter in whatever city that person's from, or are we going to open one there? And also a number of people in the UK and Germany have asked us to open chapters there too. So
that's interesting.
We'd love to be able to do that, but then we'd have to put Kelly's Kitchen, which is our office, on wheels, because so we're still small.
But you're doing a great job at what you're doing, and that's what counts. If someone is interested in starting something like this in another part of the country, would you welcome them to come experience it with you and take those ideas to their part of the country.
Absolutely. Come on
Okay.
in. And we have people, there's a breast cancer survivor in Miami, Florida that promised me she's coming. Somebody from Chicago promises me that she's coming. Somebody from California promised me that she's bringing her mother. So it's everybody. We don't have any restrictions on anything. And if
Right.
someone wants to come as a non-survivor because they want to create something like this in their city, come on. We bring guests all the time because we want to
Yes.
spread the word and kind of show people what we're doing.
Yeah, I would love to see this happen other places. It just sounds amazing. And I think what you're doing, your approach, you're keeping it so that you can keep control over it and make sure it's a healthy experience for people. And I applaud you for that. I think sometimes when you grow something, it can get out of hand where you're not able to pay as much attention to the program as you would like to. So I think your approach, because you are seeing such a beautiful thing, is wonderful. So about how many events a year would you say you have?
Can I just want to
Sure.
add in something. So so for the long trips, I partnered with North Carolina Outward Bound. And for all of our local trips, we partner with Miami University's Outdoor Pursuit Center. And the key thing about that is when you talk about, keeping it safe, we have not tried to reinvent the technical aspect of it. We're working with people.
Good.
That's what they do.
Right.
And so which is fabulous. We don't have to worry about it. They're completely trained in it. They have all the technical equipment. And so we rely heavily on them for that. And then what we bring is the experience and the knowledge of what people, who've gone through breast cancer, what roadblocks they run into, both, physically, emotionally, and mentally and stuff. And I think it's really important, when you talk about like other places doing it, that it's important to have that technical safety net there.
That's an excellent point. I'm so glad you explained that and brought it up. Thank you. And that's also why, if anybody is interested in this, I encourage them to come see your program and participate in it. But I see benefit with if someone is interested in getting something started in another part of the country.
Yeah.
And you're in a beautiful area in Cincinnati. It's gorgeous there with Kentucky and so on, so close to you. I love it out there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of beautiful places that are close and easily accessible.
Mm-hmm. So, Sara, what would you say to other women and other survivors who find themselves in a dark place right now?
Keep fighting. You made it this far through the toughest part of your journey, and keep putting that foot in front of the other. But also, have the courage and be vulnerable to allow yourself to reach out and ask for help, because you don't have to do this alone. There are so many people out there who have either been where you are now or are in that place that you are now. And, reach out to Move Beyond Surviving, because, try it. Like I said, Dr. McClean was my surgeon. So Kelly saved my life. Move Beyond Surviving gave me my life back. Try it. Some people even come to the events not intending to participate. They just want to be there to be with women like them who've been on a similar journey and to see what it's all about. And I can say, I think almost all the time when the ladies are like, oh, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do that, they always participate, they always have a blast, and they always do so much better than they think they're going to do in whatever the event is that we're doing. And the laughter and the smiles, that is just worth it in and of itself. So, look up Move Beyond Surviving. I know they have a website. There's the Facebook page.
I love it.
there's the Facebook page. You can email them. Tom will get back to you. But just give it a try. It doesn't cost really anything to try it. Just take that leap of faith. And if you come to one event and you decide it's not for you, then you don't have to do it again. But I guarantee you will find something that works for you and is for you and brings that little light back to your life that has probably kind of been dimmed for a while.
I think the shared experience, if nothing else, is going to help other people if they just want to come and observe. I'm going to put a link to Move Beyond Surviving into the show notes here. And I'm so impressed with this organization and what you have done from a grassroots effort and your enjoyment of the outdoors, Kelly and Tom, and what you are perpetuating through this. You change lives, you transform lives. It's obvious from what Sara has said. So Tom and Kelly, what else would you like to share about the Move Beyond Surviving experience?
So first of all of our events are free.
Oh, wow. That's good to know. Okay.
We ask for a $25 deposit at the time when people sign up, and those are refundable as long as it's an investment, like a statement.
Skin in the game.
Like skin in the game, right? Exactly. Because initially people would be like, oh yeah, we're really interested, and then, wouldn't show up or like cancel. So if you show up, you don't have to do anything. You do have to show up. That's refundable. A lot of people do decide to donate it back, which has been very helpful. And the other thing is that because we work with Miami University, we pay them for that. So while a hike in the woods may be free, for us each program isn't, and so we do rely on donations for support.
I was just going to ask, how can people support you? Is there a place on your website to click to lend support?
We have a Support Us tab, a donate button on the website.
Great.
So that's the easiest way to get through to us.
Okay. Good to hear, because I think you're going to find people that will want to support Move Beyond Surviving. I love the name of it.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You have such a winner smile, Kelly.
Thanks.
So
You're welcome.
can I add something? And this is really
Sure.
to Sara, but we're always, you always question, if we're making a difference, if things are in, even though I trust everybody that we've interacted with, people are going to be nice to you, right? So you just, you always think back of your mind, well, maybe they're exaggerating how much they enjoyed it or whatever. But so I saw on Facebook a post from Sara, and it might have been after the rock climbing post, and you had pictures of yourself. It was out that, or maybe it was our indoor climbing. Anyway, she initially emailed us and said, "Hey, I'm struggling." I remember those words. You used the word "I'm struggling," and then you said you're Kelly's patient, and I said to Kelly, "Hey, Sara Hill reached out," and she goes, "Yeah, she's kind of having a hard time," and so I knew that, right? You recognized it within yourself. You came to the first one, the rock climbing, you did the indoor climbing, you did horseback riding. In one of those events, you posted pictures, and I don't know how many comments you had, but what the comments were, and they didn't know I was reading, were, "She's back, she's back, she's back." The essence of every comment was, "We have our Sara back." So that is so cool, because that is 100% validation for us that we're on the right track, right? And so thank you, Sara, for inspiring us, because you do. And on a side note, I saw a post today that called Sara a rock star and had pictures of her doing her different events. And then the same person reached out to me, invited me to connect on LinkedIn. It happened to be her husband. Yeah. So he was testifying what a great organization this is, because he witnesses it through Sara.
What does your husband say about it, Sara?
Oh, he's so grateful, in awe, because he has his wife back, which, again, what a gift that Move Beyond Surviving not only gives to the survivors, but it gives to the family members of the survivors. And, here comes those tears. it's such a gift. It really is. So he's in awe. He's in awe of what Move Beyond Surviving has done.
It's Move Beyond Surviving, facilitating you empowering yourself.
Yeah.
You did it. But you had the right people there giving
Right.
you support,
Right.
right? What you do, Kelly and Tom, is amazing. I'm so impressed. I have chills while we're talking.
Well, that's going back to, so the original, actually, you see, the original logo was actually a double-headed battle axe with two double-headed battle axe, and it was a symbol of like the Amazons and women taking control over their own lives. And I really liked it. And then when we made the nonprofit, we changed the logo because I felt like this symbolized too much still being stuck in the fight. And then we changed it to the phoenix rising from the ashes, which it may sound cliche-ish, but the whole idea of the phoenix is that you can you didn't control getting cancer. You could let the flames destroy you, or you can come out of it something better, more beautiful. You can find some strength from that conflict and become a better version of yourself and bring more beauty to the world. So that's just what the phoenix symbolizes.
I love how your logo is transformative as well. You went from one that you love to another that is very symbolic and really does connotate what Move Beyond Surviving does for people.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything any of you would like to add to this, to our conversation?
Just call if.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, just check out Move Beyond Surviving if you are in survivorship, because you will not regret it.
It's almost in the middle of the country, so it's pretty easy for a lot of people to get to. And the Cincinnati airport's easy to get to. Or you could do Louisville, right? Louisville's fairly close. Am I thinking of that right? Kentucky?
Yes. Yeah.
So
So right now we're relatively new, and so we open one event at a time and announce that, and then people can sign up. We're hoping at some point that we're going to be able to have more than one event open and have different levels of events, so people who may feel more physically challenged than others, or to give more variety. But we do try and create every event so that there's an out for people, so that it's adaptable to different levels.
So I'm curious about, thank you for explaining that. And Tom, thank you for explaining the background of Move Beyond Surviving. You're saying you have college students from the University of Miami, Ohio there that are involved in the outdoor program. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
So what have you heard from them about the program?
It's the favorite one. So they do this kind of thing sort of for corporations and schools. And we're obviously their biggest, quote, customer because we're monthly. And they fight over who can facilitate, or they call it a lead. Every one of them wants to do it, and they have a staff of 20 some odd people.
Wow.
So this is by far their favorite one. On our very first event, the director of the program was in tears as well afterwards. And she says that there's nothing more impactful than working with us and getting to interact with the survivors. And the survivors, they tell us, inspire them. And they inspire Kelly and me. And Sarah's heard this enough. They humble me. They really do. I don't know if I could do life as well as they do life if I was faced with cancer, because they're inspiring.
That has to be a very transformative experience for them, being around 20 years old, give or take a few years, and to be around people who have the cancer journey. To see people overcome this adversity has got to be very moving to them. And they probably, I'm sure they walk away from being facilitators and so on for the program, a changed person.
They do. And I will tell you, so the courage that the survivors may have had their whole lives, but had to use during their cancer journey, there's a lot of courage there. And the survivors are learning things about themselves, about others, and it's just, there's just so much to this, which is why we invite guests to come, because it's like a picture. You can take a picture, but unless you're seeing it firsthand, it just doesn't do it justice.
Right.
And we want people to be in the middle of this and experience what's happening, because it's more than I can put into words.
Right.
You're making me want to come out for an event.
Come on.
This has been such an uplifting and wonderful time. And Kelly and Tom, I so appreciate what you are doing for other people through Move Beyond Surviving.
Well, thank you so much for having us and for highlighting our organization.
Absolutely. And Sara, I so appreciate you being willing to just share what this was like for you and where you were before. You're going to offer a lot of hope to other people listening to this. And thank you. That means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. And thank you,
Absolutely.
Tom and Kelly, for having this organization.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I have to say, Sara is one of my patients, and when she got done with her treatment, she brought in, gives you an idea of Sara, this huge basket of all these different treats and just all these different goodies and everything. And so it was just very kind. She's a very kind and thoughtful person. So it's good to have the real Sara back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
It sounds like everybody feels that way from what Tom said. I so appreciate all of you being here and your time today. Thank you so much. This has meant a lot to the Everything Cancer podcast to hear the story, and to our audience who's going to have a chance to listen to it. Thank you.
Appreciate what you're doing, Jill. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Everything Cancer podcast. We hope you found the conversation as insightful and as inspiring as we did. Remember, all the details about our guests, including their contact information and links to resources they've shared on their websites, will be included in the show notes. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting us by visiting our website, checking out our Patreon page, or becoming a sponsor. Your support helps us to continue to bring you these important discussions. Don't forget to subscribe to the Everything Cancer podcast on your favorite platform and follow us on social media. Always remember, the information shared here is not intended as medical advice. For any personal health concerns, please consult with your healthcare team. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to having you back with us again next time. And for anybody that you have invited to join us, please reach out if you would like to be a sponsor. We would welcome you. Thank you.